Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the RepPath Podcast. Guys, today we're going to talk about handling rejection in medical sales. And before we start, I just want to straight up say I'm dealing with a little stomach bug today. So if I'm not as energetic or as exciting, maybe I'm not that exciting to begin with, but I'm a little sluggish. So I'm going to fight through this. But I appreciate everyone jumping on. Before we dive into today's topic, as always, guys, any questions, please submit them into the chat and we'll address them about halfway through the show. And for all you candidates out there, if you've been looking for at least 2 months and you're struggling, you can't get interviews, you're getting ghosted all the time, join the RepPath Academy. Guys, we've done this for years. We've placed thousands of candidates. We know what we're doing. We can help you. Stop trying to figure it out by yourself, guys. It gets frustrating. And what happens, a lot of people give up on their journey. We don't want to see that happen. So please go on RepPath.com. You could see the different companies that we've worked with in the past and also those testimonials at the bottom of previous reps that have been placed quickly. So please shoot me a DM or go right to RepPath.com, schedule a call so we can get you situated. Lastly, if anybody wants to see a copy of this podcast or anything else we produce, please go on my YouTube channel, the RepPath Academy. Click the link below and subscribe. It's 100% free, so you can get this podcast and all the other material that we produce, on a daily basis. We got a ton of stuff in there, a ton of value. Go join and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the RepPath Academy. Okay, awesome. Let's dive right in today, guys. Rejection. Rejection sucks, okay? And I don't want to say you faced rejection, a lot. To say facing it a lot is actually an understatement. I mean, that's the majority of the job, guys. In medical sales, you're getting rejected multiple times a day, okay? When doctors say yes, it's actually, that's the minority of the time. Majority of the time, people are saying no, or they're not even, giving the time of day. But I don't want you guys, especially you younger reps out there, I don't want you to don't take it personally. It's part of the job. It is the job. So we're going to talk about some of the different aspects of rejection and how to handle that and navigate through that. So we're going to dive right in. So why does rejection feel different in medical sales? Okay. First and foremost, guys, you're selling to highly educated professionals. You're selling to doctors, nurses, different office managers, techs. I mean, these are individuals that, let's be real, they're smart people. They're highly educated, especially dealing with physicians. They know their craft. They've been doing it for years. I mean, some of these physicians have been in practice for 40, 50 years. And here you are, you started 3 months ago, and now you're going to talk to them about how they should prescribe to patients or what devices they should use. Guys, it's not easy. So we want to talk about why it's so difficult and what makes it, how we can overcome these challenges of rejection. So first and foremost, the physicians, nurses, administrators, they're all under pressure, guys. So this is the part of don't take it personally. They got patients' lives on the line. They got huge either office budgets, surgery centers, hospital budgets, a lot of jobs on the line. Your product or drug is not the first thing they're thinking about. So they're under a lot of pressure. So just think about when you're a little stressed at work. I mean, I know I get like this when 2 or 3 people call me all at once, or I get a bunch of requests all at once and I'm getting swamped. I feel it. I feel that stress kick in and I'm like, all right, wait, I can't even think right now. Then someone calls me or you get a call from a friend or a family member and you're like, hey man, I got to call you back, and you're still, brushing them off because you're just getting a little swamped, in your little world. Imagine being a physician. Imagine dealing with hundreds, sometimes thousands of patients. You see 40, 50 patients a day. You're in between surgeries. Real shit happens. Bad things happen sometimes. Life-threatening things happen. And all of a sudden you got a rep in front of you. Okay, so that's real pressure. So because they don't want to talk to you today, it's nothing to be insulted about. Again, a short response doesn't always mean no. If they brush you off, Just getting rejected doesn't mean that's it. That's it. You're over. You're never going to sell to them again. I mean, one of the best things about our industry, both in med device, pharma, diagnostics, whatever you're selling, it's a very rare that you get multiple opportunities to sell to someone. You could go back every week to the same office, the same doctor that told you no, and go back and see them again the next week. And believe me, I've been told no in some offices and hospitals for years. And then one day things happen, things change. They can be pissed off at their previous rep or the previous product. And all of a sudden they want to give you a shot. It's one of the few industries that you could keep going back and one day they could start using you. So getting a no, getting ignored, that's all part of it. Don't get insulted. Don't get down. You're going to come back again next week and you could change up your messaging. Who knows? Take a different angle. Don't even talk about business that day. Take, whatever you want to talk about to just start building that relationship, whatever it is. But again, you're going to get more opportunities. So you need to separate also, especially for your newer reps, your personal confidence from the customer's reaction. Guys, it's hard. When you first start out, as much as I can preach to you all day long that doctors, they do not want to see you. Okay, that's the harsh reality of this business, especially when you're new. They don't know who you are. They're already using someone for whatever your class of products is, whether it's a drug or a device, for the most part, unless it's a new product, a revolutionary product. But for the most part, they're doing it already and it's working out well. Now you're coming in brand new. They have no idea who the hell you are. And now you're interrupting their day. So you're going to get ignored a lot. They're not going to care that you're there. It takes time. Don't let that kill your confidence, guys. That's the worst thing you can do. So a lot of reps that I've seen come into this industry and after a year or two, they give up and they wind up taking a different path. And a lot of the time it's because of that constant rejection. It wears on them and they go, you know what? I can't take this. I'm not good at it. I want you guys all to realize that you're not alone. We've all been in your shoes. We're still in your shoes. I wish that when I call on customers, they're always welcoming me. I get rejected all day long. I'm constantly trying to build my coaching business, my recruiting business, my consulting business. And I get ignored a lot. I get ghosted a lot. But I keep crafting my message. I keep changing it up. I don't keep going in there and go, what the hell? It's going to eventually work. I'm going to just keep my head down and keep doing the same thing. No, guys, you got to keep adjusting and evolving, and then you'll finally get there. So remember, guys, at the end of the day, you're thinking about this sale all day long, and your physicians, they're not thinking about you at all. And I'm not saying that to be negative or to be, sound depressing or doom and gloom. It's just the reality. You wake up selling a product, they wake up taking care of patients and running a business. So let's talk about those ignored calls, texts, and emails. This is just one of the first forms of rejection new reps experience. Silence, guys, is common in medical sales. Very, very common. You get ghosted a lot. For a lot of you that are going through the interview process and think recruiters and hiring managers are ghosting you, just wait till you get into medical sales, guys. I mean, believe me, you're going to be blown away how many doctors, they just don't want to see you at first. But the best feeling is when you overcome that, when you put the work in and you finally get a meeting with Dr. Jones or Dr. Smith. Guys, these are the moments you celebrate. You start celebrating the small wins. Even booking a meeting is huge because eventually those sales are going to come. And then that's when you really grow and you get that thick skin, you get tough. So for a lot of you reps out there, one of the key things that I want to stress today of do not do this in the interview process. And that's, say I have thick skin. No shit. You know who else has thick skin? Every other sales rep in the entire planet. They wouldn't be sales reps, especially in medical sales. That's not a selling point, guys. To say you have thick skin, so does everyone else. That's a prerequisite in this business. So don't talk about that like it's a skill. You have to have thick skin. Have to. So if you don't have that, you're not going to do well. So don't talk about that like that's going to help you stand out. Next, when it comes to getting ignored, you don't want to get desperate, guys. And this is key because many of you, I've been there too. You've reached out to someone 50 times. There's a deadline coming up. You have to hit your quarterly number, your year-end bonus, whatever it is. And you start getting stressed and then you start getting desperate, right? It's like James, when he was dating, a lot of girls ignore him all the time. Then he starts getting desperate because he hasn't gone on a date in months. Work out for him because he looks like an idiot. And James, I don't know if you were listening, buddy, but
no, I was definitely listening there, Joe, and I didn't know you wanted to relive your past dating life.
And you've been so nice to me today too. I can't help it, man. It really is. It's terrible. If anyone knew,
we're slaving away trying to help his business grow, and he's just throwing shots.
that was so uncalled for. I'm sorry, buddy. I actually felt it as I was saying it.
You're good, dude. Because it's unfortunately wildly accurate.
But you just told me all the stuff that you guys have been doing behind the scenes, and that's what I opened with. So sorry about that, buddy. I didn't feel
that truth hurts, man. The truth hurts.
Well, that's a good thing about being married. You can make fun of other people, even though we all went through that same shit before we were married too.
Oh, dude, dating in 2026 is brutal.
Oh, God bless, man. But the bottom line is, guys, don't get desperate with your follow-ups. That's just not going to work. People are going to see through that. And nobody wants to get back to someone, if you're saying, this is urgent, God forbid you say something like that, make a doctor think that there's something life-threatening going on. And it's just because you want to have a conversation with them. You'll never speak to that physician again if you do that. Don't be desperate. It's hard to take the company pressure and be able to manage that when you're dealing with physicians and actually trying to run a territory, because you're going to be getting pulled. And push, you got to hit this number. You got to get out there. You got to drive business. You got to drive revenue. You're only 50% to plan. You're way behind. This isn't good. And you start panicking. But if you don't maintain calm with your customers, if you don't stay professional, you're not going to win, guys. This is the skill that you're going to acquire as your rep for a while. It's taking those pressures and being able to handle that and not putting it onto your physicians, onto your customers. Worst thing you could do. So what do you do instead, guys? First and foremost, guys, keep messages short. One of the keys that I want you to do when you turn your phone, if you have to scroll to read a message, it's too long. That's simple. If you send an email and they have to scroll with your finger, that's too long. Most doctors aren't reading it. Now, if they ask for something and it's a big study or something like that, of course, that's different. But an outreach message, it should be short and sweet. Nobody wants to read. Nobody does read. I mean, guys, I deal with all the candidates all around the country. No offense, 90% of you don't read shit. I put requirements in. Nobody reads them. They send their resumes, and just totally ignore that. And this is why I ghost people, because you didn't take the time to even read what the post was. How can I get back to you? Your background isn't a fit. I'm not saying that doesn't mean you can't break in, but for that specific opportunity, if you're not going to take the time to even read and address where your shortcomings are in the email and where you do match the opportunity and just send it over, I'm going to ignore you. So it's the same with the doctors. If you're constantly just throwing out garbage, making it real long, they're not going to read it. Keep it short and sweet. You want to reference, and you're going to hear this all the time. Your ICP, your ideal customer profile. And this, a lot of times, you could be doing this, in my business, I have ideal customer profiles in business, and doctors also have ideal patient profiles. All right. So you want to be able to pick a specific patient type, procedure, workflow problem, or business issue, something they really care about. Okay. And this is important, guys. And this is where the digging in, when you do get in front of them and start finding out what their key drivers are and learning more about what they really care about. Back in the day, people would go on Facebook or MySpace or whatever the hell it was back then, see that the doctor is a Dodgers fan, and then just keep talking about the Dodgers. And meanwhile, that means nothing to the doctor. He's a fan. Same with me. I'm a Bears fan. I'm a Yankee fan. But if you keep talking to me and you're trying to get my business and you want me to work with you and you're just talking about the Bears and Yankees, I'm not going to give a shit, guys. I want to know what the problems that you're going to help me solve in my business. When you figure that out and you ask the questions, which we all should be doing, what are the challenges you're facing? But straight up, what do you care about? What's important to you? Ask these questions directly and then start focusing your approach towards solving their problems, towards providing solutions. So you want to make sure that's in the messages that you're sharing. Um, and you need a reason for outreach, guys. So that means following up with new information, not the same repeated email. They saw the email, guys. Okay. So putting that in there and thinking every Monday, I'm going to shoot that out at 7 a.m. Eventually it's going to work. Guys, the shit doesn't work. Okay. I think a lot of you guys see that already on LinkedIn when you're reaching out to other reps and you cut and paste. You see how many people you have to reach out to get maybe a 1 or 2% hit where someone actually responds. And a lot of times they respond saying, hey, sorry, I can't help you. That's not what I do, or whatever. And they're kind of fluffing you off. You have to change up your messaging. Don't go in with the same tired approach, guys. It's not going to work. And then you also keep good notes. Track this in your CRM. Most of you guys are going to have a CRM. You want to make sure that you really utilize your CRM. I know a lot of sales reps. Let's be real, guys. We're in the car. You want to get your day done as quickly as possible. You want to get in and out of every office. A lot of times you'll say, well, I remember what I talked to the doctor about last time. I don't need to put it in the notes. Guys, trust me, you're going to forget. When you're calling on hundreds of doctors, you're not going to remember every encounter. Or more importantly, you're not going to remember when you went there last. Or how many times did you go this month? What days did you go? What time did you go? Because that makes a difference. When you see it tracked and every Tuesday at 3:00 you've been going in there because it fits into your day and your schedule, but you're never seeing the doctor. Unless you make those good notes, you're not going to realize that, and you're going to keep making the same mistakes. So don't do that. Get in there different times. Follow your notes. Make sure you have diligent CRM notes. It's very important. And then lastly, guys, even though that getting ignored is part of it, but we do overcome it. You don't overcome it all the time. So you have to know when to move on. And that could be different for everyone. People ask me all the time, they'll be like, Joe, how many calls should I have to make before, if a doctor doesn't get back to me, for me to move on from them? Or how many months should I spend on that physician? Guys, it depends on the situation. If a doctor is locked in and is a speaker on the speaker bureau for XYZ company, and you're the competitor, you might want to say, okay, I might not give up on the doctor, but am I going to go in there every other day? No, maybe I'll go in every other week or once a month, and change your call frequency. The key is, guys, it's not about giving up on that doctor, but realize we talk about this all the time about how time is your most valuable commodity. Don't waste too much time on those doctors. Instead, waste it on the doctors that do give you time. Waste it on the doctors that are giving you business. Help them grow. That's what good reps do. They don't go, I'm going to be stubborn and I'm going to get Dr. Smith because he's a whale, and I don't care how long it takes. That's great to have that attitude, guys. But if you're driving an hour and a half out of the way to go see Dr. Smith, when you could call 5 doctors that aren't as small, but they're willing to listen to you and they could give you some business, you're shooting yourself in the foot, guys. Because especially, in the office-based sales, there's only so many hours in the day. After 5:00, there's very few offices that you're going to that are going to see you after that. So you got to get in that certain window to get your messaging across. Okay. Next, guys, gatekeepers. So this is the front office staff, the schedulers, office managers, nurses, OR coordinators, whoever it is. They are not the enemy. Okay. They're not. I know we call them gatekeepers, and gatekeepers, to be honest with you, is a bad phrasing, because you do picture the person. I picture like a bouncer, that just their job is to say, no, you can't come in. Right. And that's not the case, guys. So you want to change your approach with them. Don't make it about, excuse me. You don't want to make it that you're there just to see the doctor and they're in your way. It's different, guys. You have to have a different approach. The approach is, remember, they control the access. So build a rapport with them. Find out, what workflow issues, if your product is implemented, does it affect them? It could. Because a lot of times those gatekeepers, especially on the pharma side, for instance, if you have to get a prior authorization, sometimes small offices, that front desk person is doing everything. So now if you could spend a couple of minutes with this individual each time you come in and be like, hey, let me walk you through this. Do you have any questions? Is there anything else you would like to know? What can I do to help you? Make them a partner, guys. Make everyone in the office a partner. Gatekeepers are not your enemy. They should be your collaborators. They should be your partners. When you actually grow that with the gatekeepers and the doctors, that's when you start to blow up and your numbers really start to take off in these offices because you're viewed as an asset. You bring real value. That's the key, guys. Okay. And you don't want to, here's some of the don'ts, and I'll give you some of the do's and don'ts. So obviously, if you build relationships with them, they're going to become internal advocates. That's key, guys. Again, that's going to help you grow. Obviously, treat them with respect. That's not an option. You have to. Don't say, hey, I have to see the doctor, and make it seem like they're just in your way. It's gonna work against you, and it's just no way to treat anybody. And then lastly, don't only act friendly when you need something, guys. Always go in there and bring your best self. Always, if they're busy and they're having a bad day, respect their time too. Don't have the mentality like, I don't give a shit. It's just the front desk person. I need to see the doctor today. Guys, it's going to work against you. They have busy schedules too. They have important jobs. You have to respect their time and the challenges they're having. So how to handle them. Number one, guys, simple. Learn their names. Okay? Speak to them. This is conversations. They'll have conversations about their family, about their kids. I'm not saying going in there every day and just doing a personal report on every single person in the office, but through conversation, you're going to start learning this. And this is where your CRM notes become very important. Because back in the day, we used to write on the back of business cards, you'd have down like Susan, blonde, tall, Bob, dark hair, glasses. You want to make sure you have in-depth CRM notes, because as much as we want to hold on to our relationships and not share everything, you don't want to do that, guys, because you could be taking over a territory too. Because a lot of times your companies, they have realignments. And how would you like it if your colleagues have shit CRM notes and now you don't know where to go? You don't know who to speak to. You don't even know who Susan is because they didn't put a descriptor in there. Make sure you keep diligent notes in there, because you're going to help someone else out and it's going to come back to you, guys. You want someone to help you. So make sure you're doing that. Don't be clear and concise about why you're there. Right? Again, they're busy too. They're seeing every individual that comes in, not just patients, delivery men, other sales reps. So you don't want to sit there and just hang out at the front desk all day. Be clear and concise, guys. Smile on your face. Let them know why you're there. If they can't see you that day, again, come back to fight another day. And then lastly, ask for guidance instead of demanding access. The big difference, okay? This is where, I'm a big advocate of beg for forgiveness as opposed to ask for permission. That's more in the hospital space, okay? When you're walking into an office, you obviously just can't walk right by that front desk person and walk in the back. They're going to stop you, and they're probably never going to let you in again. So you want to make sure you're being respectful and you're not demanding, I have to see the doctor, okay? Because guys, if you do create that scare and say this is very important and trick them to get into the back, it's probably only going to happen once or twice before they don't even let you in the back anymore. So just be respectful for their time. Ask for access, and ask for guidance instead of demanding access. Sorry. Next, guys, lost deals. Okay, this is tough. This is one of the toughest rejections you can get. So lost deals could hit a new rep hard, especially when they invested months into the account. And lost deals are part of the learning curve, guys. Again, doesn't mean you're out. Even contracts that come up, sometimes they come up once a year, every couple of years. Believe me, things change. The contract, first off, time flies to begin with. So that could be up for renewal in 6 months or a year. That can go just like that. And you have another opportunity to get back in there. But also, things change internally. They could say, you know what, we're not getting the results. Let's rip up this contract, or let's stop using them because they're not living up to whatever it's promised. And let's start evaluating other companies. You never know. But it's part of the process. Lost deals are part of the process. That doesn't mean that the relationship is over. Okay. So the worst thing you can do is you lost and then you disappear. Guys, terrible way to approach it. Okay. You don't want to do that. Believe me, you don't know when things will change. You stay consistent. Trust me. I've seen it over and over and over again. When I thought, the doctor his nephew is the rep. And I'm like, oh, wow, he's never going to use us. We're screwed. Shit happens. They go on back order. Products go on back order. They can't get it. They call you. I mean, I know a lot of reps that straight up say, hey, listen, I know you already have a vendor. I just want to be your first option. If things don't work out, call me first. I'm here to help. It happens because there's always problems at every company. So at least make yourself available is the takeaway, guys. Don't disappear. And one of the things you should definitely do is you need to do a post-loss review. Okay, what went wrong? Why didn't you get the deal? Why didn't you make the sale? Guys, this is so important. Again, it's like a post-game analysis. My football team, we met every Monday, we watch film, and then we go over all our mistakes. And then we work on them so we get better each week. It's the same thing in sales. You want to meet with your manager. You want to have conversations not only with your manager, your team, and yourself, and give an honest evaluation. That's so important, guys. Don't make excuses. It's always on you. Don't constantly blame outside parameters and obstacles, because you're never going to be successful that way. Take ownership and figure out at least one thing that you could do differently that can help you be successful. But you need to do a post-game analysis. You need to do a post-loss review. And again, was it price, access, contract, clinical preference, reimbursement, training, timing, internal politics? It could be any of those things. It could be all those things. And sometimes, guys, some deals are lost long before the final decision because the reps miss key stakeholders. That happens all the time too. So again, it's part of it. There's so many different parameters. There's so many different things that you could be, that you could get cut out on, just because of whatever different challenges are going on at that account. So next, slow sales cycles. Guys, this is so prevalent for the hospital space. Okay, capital sales deals. So especially in hospitals, IDNs, that's integrated delivery networks. So those are multiple hospitals that are all under one umbrella. Again, capital equipment, diagnostics, new technology adoption. A lot of these things take time. Okay, so it may feel like a loss, especially when your company's saying, "Hey, man, you've been working on this for 6 months. What the hell's going on?" But it's not. Sometimes it takes a long time. The first thing you have to do is set expectations. Okay, because that's not a rejection. You don't want to confuse this with a rejection. This is just a slow process, and it happens a lot in those spaces. Because especially in the hospital space, some of these decisions involve multiple departments: clinical, financial, operational, compliance. All have to be on the same page for them to use your product. And again, multiple stakeholders means longer process. I know when we sold our robotic cardiac ablation equipment, even when a doctor loved it, a hospital had the funding, they still had to make sure that the room was a specific size. The location was far enough away from some of their MRI equipment, or it would affect the MRI equipment. They also need a construction project to go on where they can put fit your robot. And then a lot of times they needed a new construction project because if they had to retrofit and throw your system in there, then a lot of times it would cost them X amount more. So the stars had to really align to sell one of these robots, but that was part of the challenge and part of the fun. But it's multiple things, so it affects the buying cycle, and it's not your failing. It's just, again, a lot of these take time with multiple stakeholders. And on that same point, a yes from one doctor may not be the product is going to be used tomorrow. I can't tell you guys how many doctors that I had them go to site visits. They saw the product. They go, Joe, we have the funding. I love this thing. I want this. Okay. Weeks go by, months go by. You're constantly in there. What's happening, doctor? And they're saying, Joe, I love it. I don't know what's slowing it down. And don't forget, guys, they're busy doing so many other things with their patients and their practice that they don't have time to just help you navigate the process. You have to do it too. You have to find out where it's stalled along the process. They might have the budget, but the budget isn't getting released for another 6 months. Or there could be someone in biomed that says, no, this isn't going to work. I mean, I had one gentleman, I'm obviously not going to repeat his name, but I worked on this one deal for over 2 years. And one comment from one person in biomed shut it down in the middle of a huge presentation to the whole cardiac department. Everything was going in the right direction. I had doctors that went to site visits. They had the budget. They had the construction project. Everything was going along. And then one of the guys got up and started talking about certain negatives or perceived negatives. And then it shut the sale down, which sucked. So it could be one person that throws a monkey wrench in. You need to keep navigating that process. Again, one yes doesn't always mean you're going to get the sale. So how do you manage slow sales cycles? First and foremost, what's the approval process look like? Guys, you need to know what it looks like. And especially if a doctor doesn't know, because they may not know, especially with a new product, you need to figure that out. Who else do you need involved? Most of the capital equipment purchases for a lot of you guys that want to get into capital, and I know I was like that too. Capital was like a promoted position in many companies. So everyone's eager to take on that capital role. It's a lot of money. You can make big bonuses, big commission checks. You're not in the field every day. You're being more strategic. You're setting up bigger meetings. All these things are great, but you need to know what the approval process is, because you need that. That's going to set your path and set your structure on how you're going to navigate this account. If you don't know that, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's very important. Like I said, who needs to be involved? Need to find that out and keep trying to get in front of these people, because believe me, it's never just going to be one doctor. It's never going to be one person, especially in capital hospital space. The VAC committee is going to be involved, clinical, administration, finance, sometimes all the way up to the CEO, depending on the project. You need everyone involved. The more people that you have on your side, the better chances you have to closing. Lastly, guys, do not promise timing overpromise with your manager. I see this way too often. You want to sound impressive and say, I can get this done in a couple of months. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to sell 5 systems in the first 3 months. Guys, this isn't going to do shit just talking a big game. Trust me, they're going to hold you to it, and that's worse. So you want to make sure you're setting expectations, even when you're interviewing with these roles, because experienced hospital reps, experienced sales reps overall, when they take over a new territory, that's why they're asking better questions. When they're going for a job interview, they're asking more about that open territory. Why is it open? Is there any business there? Is it a completely new area? Is it an expansion territory? What's the coverage? All these things are coming into play for them to figure out some sort of mathematical timeline on how long they think they can realistically make this happen. And the best reps don't overpromise. I would be more conservative every time. It shows that you have a real grasp of what the challenges are. When you sit there and just brag and say, I can make this happen in a couple of months, guys, first off, if they know that that's not real, they're not going to move forward with you. But if you do trick them and then get out there, then you're going to have to deliver. So don't overpromise. Set realistic expectation. because it's going to make your life a lot easier because they're going to be pressuring you. If you tell them, hey, listen, I don't see anything happen in the first 9 months minimum, then at least you said that from jump. Now, if they choose to still pressure you, that sucks. But at least you didn't set yourself up for failure by overpromising. I'm going to pause here, James, just because we can, I know we're going a little over time here. But any questions from the crowd?
We got a couple there, Joe. We got a couple. Jennifer Castellano, what's the difference between a no that means not right now and a no that means never come back? How do you read that?
Well, I'll say this first and foremost. Majority of them are no right now. If you have to lean on one and you can't figure it out, it usually means no right now. There's very rare circumstances where they say, no, I will never, ever use you ever. It's just very rare. I mean, sometimes you could say, well, they just signed a 3-year contract where they can only use 2 vendors and, the RFP isn't coming out for another couple of years. Okay. And that's an opportunity. You might say, I'm not going to keep spending too much time here. But if it's just, no, I don't see the value. A lot of times it's either you're speaking to the wrong person. You didn't find out what their key drivers are, and then helping to sell and provide a solution to those drivers. That's usually the issue. And there isn't a real need right now. So that primarily takes the cake. There's very few situations where they're never, ever, ever going to use you. Now, they may not be trained on a procedure, so they can't use you until they get trained. They might say, well, Joe, I'm sorry, your product is 5 times the price. Until you come down in price, we're never going to use you. And then depending on if you can adjust pricing and have negotiation, that might change things because pricing is real. And sometimes products are very expensive. You don't want to lead with dropping price because that's never the great approach. But I would say more often than not, over 90% of the time, assume it's no right now.
Kevin O'Donnell, what's your honest take on rejection emails that just say we went with another candidate? Do you reply or let it go?
I mean, you keep it professional. Definitely 100% you reply. You don't just let it go because that's showing like you're a sore loser, that you're pissed off. And you're like, oh man, screw this company. They didn't even say yes to me. Screw them. And then you just ignore them. Guys, keep it professional. Just simple email response. Thank you for getting back to me. I'm sorry to hear that was a decision, but if anything changes in the future, if there's anything else I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's it. Just nice and professional. And then you move on because you don't want to dwell on it. I've seen too many reps. I did this too. You get 5, 6 interviews down the line and a company picks an internal candidate that came out of nowhere and you want to scream. You don't want to show your frustration in a nasty email response or not responding to them. That's just, don't be a sore loser. Just respond, keep it professional, and move on.
We got Jake Waters. Can you talk about IDN conversions? How does that typically start?
An IDN conversion? I mean, typically it's, first off, you need a champion. Okay. A champion is a physician that really believes in your product and is going to fight for you. Now, champions also have to have some sort of say in that department, at that hospital. If there's some, fellow that just likes your product and they just started, 2 weeks ago, because you're going to get you're going to see, guys, the people that have less say, they're typically going to be friendlier. At least that's what I would see. I'm not saying that's always going to happen because, of course, there's anybody can love your product and that's great. But usually the people I used to get a lot of fellows, both in pain, in cardiology, where they were just more apt to, have a conversation with you. They were more interested. They're greener. They're still learning. And they could say, I love this product. This is so cool. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter. There's, 15 levels above them that actually make the decisions. So you need a champion, number one. You need to know when that VAC committee or that P&T committee meets. That's the value analysis committee or the pharmacy and therapeutics committee for drugs. You need to know what their process is for approving new products. Okay, because some products in device, they only want 2 or 3 options in that class. So if you're not showing any therapeutic or any differences and you're just another me too, it's going to be harder if they already have 2 or 3 products in that class, because they might say, hey, Joe, sorry, we can't take on another product in this class. So that could be challenging. But you need to find out what that is. What's the process? And then most importantly, when you have your champion in place, you have all your ducks in a row, timing is everything, guys. I've learned this multiple times where I've had doctors, Joe, I love your product. You gave me all the material. I got all the studies. I got all the selling points. I got pricing. I got everything. And then the meeting isn't happening for 3 weeks. So you're in there today and the meeting isn't happening till the end of May. All right. What do you think is going to happen when the meeting comes? Doctor's not going to show up, or the doctor's going to forget a lot of the shit you talked about. So you have to make sure you know when those meetings are, because you want to be in there the day before or that morning, whenever it is, making sure that doctor is prepped to present whatever product you're trying to sell. That is probably one of the most important things to get a product approved in an IDN.
We got Patricia Lambert. Joe, is it normal to feel embarrassed walking back into an account that already turned you down twice?
No, who gives a shit? Keep going back in. Don't ever let it bother you. Turn down twice is nothing. I will venture to say 99.9% of your offices are going to turn you down more than twice before you make a sale. If you make a sale within 1 or 2 times, that's an anomaly. So expect to get rejected. I'm not saying go in there, with your shoulders down and all defeated, like, oh, I'm going to lose. Doctor's not going to look at this. He doesn't give a shit. No. But don't think I'm definitely going to come out with a sale today. I mean, it's good to, to manifest and think positive. I'm a big manifester. I agree with that. But it is common to get rejected multiple times before you actually break through and be able to make sales. So don't ever get embarrassed or anything. Embarrassed should never come up in your vocabulary. Just keep going.
This is a funny question, Joe, because I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. When you were starting out, did you ever cry in your car after a bad day asking for a friend? Joe, the answer I know, you're a little bitch and you cried every day.
I mean, I kind of deserved that after I just picked on you. So I knew that was coming. I think you made up that question just now. But no, I did not cry. I've been pissed off many times, especially with long-term deals. I mean, that one day, that specific example, when the biomed guy shot down 2 years of work in one comment. I mean, that was a blow. That sucked because that literally was the one moment that changed everything. And I wound up not making a sale there. So, and these are big commissions. We're talking about large capital sales equipment. You don't sell one of those every day. You're waiting on this sale to come in. You're hoping it comes in. I mean, that's a tough one to swallow. But other than that, I mean, listen, if you want to cry, that's up to you. I don't think anything is that traumatic. It's still, it's a job. You're going to be laid off, guys. You could get fired. I mean, there's real challenges that once you have them, you look back, especially the older you get, your health, family, all that is way more important than just not making a sale. So don't beat yourself up. If you want to cry, that's up to you. But that I get more pissed off, in my earlier days than I would, get, emotionally upset.
I just pictured Joe in a phone booth. Milk was a bad choice. Trevor Lindquist, what's a healthy way to vent after rejection without dragging it home to your family?
And like we talked about, Trevor, do that post-call, that post-loss analysis. That's the right approach. Find out what went wrong. You don't want to dwell on it. You don't want to be talking about that for the next month, agonizing. Oh, I can't believe we screwed up. No, just go over, here's where we went wrong, and we're going to fix it. And then you move on. Just again, like a football game. Next week, you're going to come out with a different game plan. So you need to do that post-call analysis and figure out what went wrong and come back with a different approach. Believe me, this is how most sales get done. Excuse me, you fail and fail and fail. The ones that are successful don't give up. They keep coming, and then eventually they figure it out, and then sales start happening. So do that post-loss analysis, and you're going to see it's going to help you navigate those situations better.
We got Mark the Lifter. Bro, the mental game is wild. What's one thing that you do to reset the same day?
Well, again, I think it comes with experience where, their next call, really, you don't want to leave, it gets so common to get rejected that you eventually just don't let it bother you at all. You could have 15, 20 calls and see 2 doctors in a day and not make any progress. This happens a lot, guys. It's going to be commonplace. So you just brush yourself off. When you get in front of that next doctor, it's a new opportunity. Just think that way. The doctor doesn't know that you just got rejected by another doctor. They don't look at you like, oh man, everyone's rejecting Joe today. I'm not going to say yes to them. They have no clue. So you're still starting out like this is the greatest drug or product on earth. Everyone wants it, doctor. You're falling behind. Why don't you get on the bandwagon and start using this too? I mean, I'm exaggerating, but the whole point being, they have no idea what's been going on in your day. So don't let them see your frustration. That's it.
Kind of along those lines, Joe. I know when I was in sales, there was definitely hot and cold streaks. And when you're hot, things are great. And when you're cold, it's brutal. It is tough. Mentally, it is so hard.
It sucks.
What do you do when you go through like a long stretch without closing a deal and you really need one?
Well, first, because you brought up the hot streaks. When you're in a hot streak, keep going. Keep going, guys. If you're it's 4:30, 5 o'clock, you want to get home, you don't want to sit in traffic. When you're hot, keep selling. Stay out there as long as you can. I'm telling you guys, there's something about that positive energy is contagious. And that's where when I get on a run, you're going to get more yeses. You're going to get, your confidence is going to build. You're going to have a glow to you that you're going to go, I don't know what I'm doing differently. Sometimes you can't even tell. But when you have that hot streak, keep going. And when you're in a cold streak, again, figure out what you're doing wrong. Take a step back. Don't just go, oh, damn, another friggin' doctor. All right, I'm going to this next office. Oh, damn it. I screwed up again. All right, let's go to the next one. No, guys, take a step back. Evaluate what you're doing. Talk to your manager. Talk to different reps. Be like, hey, I'm hitting this, dry spell. Can you talk to me? I mean, guys, baseball players, athletes, they all do this. A baseball player, the best players in the world, Aaron Judge. Me and James will definitely agree with this. Again, one of the best players probably of all time. He's going to be at the end of his career. He goes in cold streaks. He meets with his batting coach. He'll meet with his manager, and they analyze, what is he doing wrong? He's one of the best players ever, and he tries fixing it.
While he has jerk-offs like me and Joe screaming at the TV to do better, he's getting paid $300 million, and we're screaming at him for not. So in sales, you don't, maybe your manager, but in most cases, you don't have a large swath of fans screaming at you.
Exactly. Idiots that have no clue and can't even swing a bat, but all of a sudden they're pros to give analysis. But so true. But really, I mean, they take time and figure it out. They don't. Aaron Judge doesn't go to Judge doesn't go to Boone and say, hey, I got this. I've been through this before. Mind your business. I'll figure it out. No, he takes advice. They figure it out together. He changes his, his grip, his stance, his swing speed, whatever the hell it is, and constantly keep improving. It's hard, guys. Sales is hard. Obviously being a Major League Baseball player is even harder, but sales is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. I mean, the draw for sales in most positions that, you can make a lot more money. The more you sell, the more money you make. In most, not all, but in most. So that's what attracts people to sales. For me, that's what I love, having my own business. I love being in sales because I can't just get a paycheck knowing this is what I'm going to make the next 5 years of my life. Maybe I'll get a bonus here or a little bump in pay. I want to attack every day like sky's the limit. And that's what motivates me. So That's the type of approach you have, guys. It's tough, but just keep working on your craft. Keep owning your own development. We talk about this all the time at RepPath and at the Academy. That's what we're constantly doing. And that's what helps separates us from other candidates to win the roles. And it's going to help you by owning your own development to help you break in and break through some of these doctors so you could start making some sales.
I remember when I was in sales, baseball is such a great analogy for sales. And I would always remind myself that the best baseball players in the world get out 7 out of 10 times. Like they're out. They don't do something good. And there's the Hall of Famers. They're the best in the world to ever play the game. And sales is, in my opinion, the same thing. You know, if you're closing 3 out of every 10 deals, you're a pretty solid salesman. Obviously, depending on where you are in sales and what you're doing, but in most cases.
A quick story with that. I was asked by my VP years ago to because this is back when a lot of the analytics weren't available like they are today. Especially with a lot of the SEO stuff where you could see how things are working quickly by a different report. And he asked me, Joe, what is the response rate on the emails that you're sending out? I said, I don't know, 10, 15%. And then one month I actually did track it. Holy shit. Guys, it was 0.5%, less than 1% of the people actually responded, not said yes, just responded to the emails I sent out. I thought it was 30 times as much because I just never gave it enough thought. So it is a very low number when you're coming to how many customers you're reaching out to and how many you're making an impact with. That's why you're constantly tailoring your message, your approach, because it's never going to be 100%, but you're always striving at whatever that number is to get higher and higher. And you only can do that by constantly working on your craft. Like James said, baseball players, a 300 batting average is great, but that still means they get out 70% of the time, 7 out of 10. So you have to keep working at it and you'll get there.
We got Jake Waters is back again. He wants to know, are there any books you recommend for developing skills applicable to medical device sales? I just finished Spin looking for another one.
There's a lot of sales books out there. I could send you a list. I just finished, on James and our other buddy Nick's recommendation, Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount. He has a great series. Yeah, he has a great series. So anything by Jeb Blount, it's very easy to read, very simplified. I would look at some of his books because there's a ton out there. I will say this because I got into this rabbit hole of reading 3 books a week, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. Reading is great. Okay. It's great to constantly learn, but I'm the type that a month later, I don't remember half the things that I read, 90% of the shit I read. So application is more important. Whatever you're going to do, whatever book you're going to read, if you just read Spin Selling, that's great. Apply it. If you don't apply it right away and you don't start using it and think, I'm going to just have a library of all these books in the background and that's going to make me a better rep, it's not going to do shit, guys. You need to keep working at your craft. Take action. That's more important. Reading books are great, but if you don't start applying it, it's not going to help. So, but if you want to reach out to me, please shoot me a DM to remind me, and then I can give you some other titles because I have tons of them. But I don't want to see you just waste every day just constantly reading if you're not going to apply it.
We got that girl Naomi. Joe, do you journal after bad days, or am I being weird?
I don't think anybody that journals is being weird. I personally don't journal. I take great notes. I have Excel spreadsheets that I use. When I worked in the corporate world, there was always a CRM instrument like Salesforce or whatever, Viva, whatever, the 2 most common are Salesforce and Viva. Those are my journals. I just make sure that I took diligent notes. To this day, I create Excel spreadsheets for everything because I want to make sure that I'm tracking where I'm going. And when you take a look back, and I challenge a lot of you guys that are trying to break into the industry, because we do this at the Academy, we have a network tracker, a networking tracker where it tracks the conversations that you're having with different sales reps, managers, and the feedback you got. And you could see, you could color code it, whatever you want to do, where it could show your opportunities, but it also when you track everything, you could look back and go, wow, I thought I made so many connections this week. I really only spoke to 3 people, and they weren't that exciting. They weren't that groundbreaking. So when you actually track everything, whether it's a journal or whether it's just your call notes, be very diligent at what you're doing, because I think it's a key to being very effective moving forward.
I got D-Money Dre. He wants to know, Joe, what's the actual playbook when a doc shuts you down mid-pitch?
I mean, if, you just want to keep it respectful, guys, because doctors can be rude, and, you just want to simply say, I'm sorry, is today a bad time? Is there something that, did I say something wrong? Something, if they're going to be rude and say, hey, Joe, I'm sorry. A lot of times they don't mean it, guys. They're just busy. And typically if they're shutting you down mid-pitch, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you said something that insulted them and made them stop and say, I can't believe you said that, obviously apologize, figure out what you said. But majority of the time, it's not going to be that. It's just going to be, hey, Joe, I got to go. I got a patient. I mean, they're going to say it. You don't want to stuff it down their throat to get your message, guys. Live to fight another day. I would, if anything, say, I'm sorry, if this is a bad time, is there a good time later this week? Or I'll come back in next week, next Thursday, whatever it is. A lot of times I used to get upset and be like, shit, I just got totally, shut down by that doctor. A lot of times when you come back in, the doctors remember that they cut you short, and say, hey, I'm sorry last time. I mean, a lot of those rejections turned out to be positives, because at the end of the day, that gives you a reason to come back there. Remember that. They say, I'm sorry, today's a bad day, Joe. That's okay. No problem. What's a good time next week? I don't know. Check with the office manager, or check with my staff, or how about Friday? And so when you come back in there on Friday, sometimes I'd be like, oh shit, I forgot I told them this. But then a lot of times they're like, hey, I'm sorry about that the other day. What do you have for me? So don't look at it as a failure. That could be a great opportunity now, because you have a second chance to get in front of them and then talk about whatever you want to sell.
We got Rebecca On, I guess is how you pronounce it, AHN. From a hiring perspective, how should candidates respond to rejection in a way that keeps the door open for future requisitions?
Yeah, I mean, and we kind of talked about this, earlier in the podcast, that, keep it professional. If they say, sorry, we've decided to go on with another candidate, we respect your time. Thank you for applying. Just keep it professional. Definitely respond. If you can get some constructive criticism, great. A lot of times they're not going to give it to you guys, because don't get insulted by that, or think, well, why aren't they even giving? I don't get any criticism for anyone. I don't know how to fix it. A lot of times the companies tell them they're directed not to do that, because it can open them up to HR issues if they give too much information away or say something that can come back and bite them. So a lot of times they'll just keep it vague, or you'll get an automated message. But keep it professional. Let them know if anything else changes, that, feel free to reach out. It was a pleasure meeting with you and your team. Again, and then you can follow up in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Make a note, that, again, you had a nice interview process. You just weren't chosen. That person could be gone in 6 months. There could be more openings. You never know. Keep those. That's a warm lead moving forward. So I would outreach maybe a month from now or a couple months from now, but that goes back to your notes, and make sure you're tracking that in whatever tracker, so that you can come back to them later on.
That's it today. That's all I got for you, man.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thank you. Thank you, James. A lot of good questions. Again, I apologize for picking the fight today, even though you came back and were just as rude. So
expect nothing less, Joe.
Guys, the same thing is we like each other. So that's a weird thing. If anybody thinks that we can't stand each other on this podcast, but I started it today, so I definitely deserve that. But I want to thank you guys. I want to thank James. I want to thank everyone for the great questions, great feedback. Guys, at the end of the day, rejection is part of this job. You can't let it it's also part of the interview process. Don't let it beat you up. Keep working on your craft. Keep owning your own development and getting better, and you're going to see success. And for all you reps out there, again, RepPath Academy, RepPath.com, or shoot me a DM so I could get you more information and talk to you more about the program, or you could just check it out on our website. Let's get you signed up. We're here to help you. We're going to help you break in. And lastly, any lobby members, please click the promo code, submit the promo code Licata whenever you're scheduling any appointment so you can get additional discounts. But I want to thank everyone. It was a great call. We're going to be doing these every Monday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if I don't talk to you guys, have a great week. Take care.